So now let's talk about the function of basal ganglia. So before discussing functions, I want to mention that two structures, that is subthalamic nuclei, and the substantia nigra, as well as the rat nucleus. These three structures are related to the basal ganglia when concerned to functions, but anatomically they are not included in basal ganglia. So let's talk about the functions of the basal ganglia. Basal ganglia basically forms a connection between different parts of brain and brain stem and influence the skeletal activities. Basically, they do not directly interact with the spinal tracts, so they indirectly influence the different parts of brain, that is the motor cortex, sensory cortex, thalamus, and then as a result they influence the movements of body. So here we can see the basal ganglia are basically making a network between the cerebral cortex, thalamus, midbrain, subthalamus. So let's talk about it. First of all, here we can see this is caudate nucleus, this is lentiform nucleus, this is globus pallidus part of lentiform nucleus, and this is putamen part of lentiform nucleus. This is thalamus, and in the midbrain we have substantia nigra and rat nucleus. And this spinal cord, it is not directly connected to in this structure. So first of all, I want to tell you that all of the afferent fibers, that is the input is received by two structures of basal ganglia. First of all, caudate nucleus, and secondly putamen. These two structures only receive the input information, and then they send this input information as a output to globus pallidus, and then globus pallidus sends output signals to different structures again. So first of all, we can see here this is the cerebral cortex, and from here, from motor and sensory areas, different inputs are coming straight to putamen. Here we can see they are going to caudate nucleus, and again this is thalamus. From here some signals are going straight to putamen and some to the caudate nucleus. And from midbrain, here we can see some signals are going to caudate nucleus and some to putamen. So putamen and caudate nucleus are receiving all the inputs. So the track which is going from cortex to the putamen and caudate nucleus, it is known as the corticostriate fibers, because putamen and caudate nucleus are together, they are called as striatum. So now I will call them as striatum. So the fibers that are going from the cerebral cortex to striatum are known as corticostriate fibers. The fibers that are going from thalamus to the striate are known as thalamostriate fibers, and then the fibers that are going from substantia nigra to the striate are known as nigrostriate fibers. And here in this diagram, subthalamus is not shown, so there are some fibers from the subthalamic nuclei here. They are also going to this striate, so these are known as subthalamostriate fibers. So the fibers that are going from substantia nigra, they secrete dopamine basically. So these fibers are inhibitory, and some fibers that are going from cortex to the stria, they release glutamate. So this is all about afferent fibers. Now talk about the efferent fibers of striate. So striate send efferent fibers straight to the globus pallidus. So these are known as striopallidal fibers, and it also sends some signals direct to the substantia nigra, known as strio-nigral fibers. So now let's talk about the fibers that are going from the globus pallidus to all these different structures again. So these fibers are altogether called as pallidofugal fibers. So they are further divided into four parts. These include the fibers that are going to subthalamus, the fibers that are going to the thalamus, the fibers again that are going to the tegmentum of midbrain. So the fibers that are going to the tegmentum of midbrain are known as pallidotegmental fibers. The fibers that are going to the subthalamus are known as fasciculus lenticularis, and the fibers that are going to the thalamus are known as ansa lenticularis. And then again, some fibers that are going to the subthalamic nuclei are called as pallidosubthalamic fibers. So in order to memorize these fibers, we use the mnemonic STOF. So we have the subthalamic, pallido-subthalamic fibers, pallido-tegmental fibers, ansa lenticularis and fasciculus lenticularis. These are going to subthalamic nuclei, the tegmentum of midbrain. These are going to the thalamus, and then this is going to again to the subthalamic nuclei. So in this way, this entire structure is making a circuit which through inhibition or excitation controls the different movements. So here we can see the final circuit. Here this is corpus striatum, that is caudate nucleus and putamen. They are receiving all the inputs of this circuit from the motor cortex area, sensory cortex area, thalamus, brainstem, substantia nigra and red nucleus. So here these all are incoming fibers, afferent fibers into this striatum. From here these fibers go to the globus pallidus. From globus pallidus all these fibers are again going as efferent fibers back to the motor, cerebral cortex, sensory cerebral cortex, thalamus, subthalamus, red nucleus, substantia nigra. So in this way this basal ganglia influence the activities of these structures. It may inhibit or excite them. So here as we can see, there is no direct link between the basal ganglia and the spinal cord, cranial nerves and or spinal nerves, but indirectly they are influencing the cortex area to overall influence the activities of muscles and different movements. In this way these basal ganglia are also involved in learning the skilled movements. So even if the motor cortex is destroyed, the opposite limbs do not show the skill fine movements, but they show crude movements. So in order to paralyze the complete opposite limbs, the primary cortex area as well as these basal ganglia should be destroyed.